Great. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm Brett Peterson, the Chief Growth Officer of MCS Pro, and I'm joined by my colleague, Peter Morris, our Managing Director. I'm excited to walk you through how MCS Pro and our enterprise RiftSoft solutions that are an end-to-end management of change for maintenance work procedures can support your mining organization. So what I'd like to do is keep this focused and practical. First, we'll walk you through the key maintenance work procedure challenges we've seen over the years across multiple industries and see if any of these resonate with your team. From there, I'll show you how RiftSoft addresses those gaps and the operational impact it delivers. We'll then move over to a short demonstration of the software so you can see it in action and how simple and efficient it is to use. So just to give you a quick snapshot of who we are, MCS Pro is a US-based company headquartered in Utah, and we've been in business for over 15 years. We're also a woman-owned business, which is something we're proud of. And from a footprint standpoint, we support over 1,000 users globally, and through RiftSoft, we've helped teams create and manage more than 20,000 maintenance documents, with hundreds more being generated every day. We're currently supporting over 24 mid to large organizations across industries like mining, oil and gas, chemical, energy, and manufacturing. So very asset intensive, high reliability environments. And at the end of the day, our focus is simple: helping organizations standardize, integrate, and control maintenance execution to drive real operational results. What we've consistently seen across the mining operations we work with is a bit of a breakdown in how maintenance work procedures are created and managed. These maintenance procedures often vary across sites and assets. They're typically created manually, which is very time intensive. Many teams are still relying on Microsoft Word or Excel, and we frequently see multiple versions of the same procedure floating around, with really no clear source of truth or confidence in which version is current. Now, layer onto that limited standardization across sites, especially in multi-site operations, and it becomes even more difficult to ensure consistent execution. Then on top of that, formal approval workflows are often missing or disconnected, making traceability and configuration control extremely difficult. And in many cases, these procedures are completely disconnected from actual field execution and the systems being used on site. The result is straightforward. This leads to delays, inconsistent work execution, and increased operational risk, ultimately impacting equipment reliability, uptime, and that overall site performance. So this is where RiftSoft comes in. First, we standardize maintenance procedures across sites, assets, and equipment types. Second, we integrate directly with systems like SAP and other core maintenance and planning systems used across your operation. Third, we give you full control, from approvals and revisions to large-scale updates across hundreds, if not thousands, of work procedures, all managed in a controlled, traceable environment. And finally, we enable execution anywhere, whether in the pit, the plant, or remote site locations, online or offline. And at the end of the day, this gives you consistent, controlled, and reliable maintenance execution across your entire operation, really driving uptime, improving equipment reliability, and reducing that operational risk. When you put that structure in place, the impact is immediate. We're confident that the outcome for mining operations is increased equipment availability through consistent standardized execution. What it does is it enables you to reduce maintenance cycle times by eliminating rework and inefficiencies across sites. We also see a 60% time savings when authoring and maintaining these work procedures. You improve data integrity across systems, which is critical for planning, scheduling, and decision making. And you enhance inspection and audit readiness with fully traceable, controlled procedures that can be deployed consistently across all sites. And importantly, RiftSoft delivers end-to-end visibility across your maintenance workflow, connecting that planning, execution, and data into a single structured process. This also positions your operation to be future state ready, especially around generative AI and advanced analytics, because those technologies rely on structured, high quality data, which RiftSoft enables. The outcome is simple: improved equipment reliability, increased uptime, and stronger, more predictable performance across your operations. So with that, what I'd like to do is have Peter, my colleague, share his screen, and he's going to walk you through our software in action so you can see how it might be deployed in your environment. With that, Peter, I'll have you share your screen.
Thanks, Brett. I've done that. Can you see the screen okay?
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks, Brett, again. Yeah, as Brett explained, RiftSoft is a management of change solution for maintenance work procedures. So firstly, it is a web-based product. The database is running on Microsoft Azure, and it's deployed worldwide in pretty much all continents at the moment. And as you said, we have over 1,000 users around the world in many different companies. So in the production environment, you would just log on to app.riftsoft.com, and if you're set up with a user ID, you just start using the software. So what we're going to concentrate on today, there is a number of products, but we're going to concentrate on Rift Create. And Rift Create is the product that's used to create maintenance work procedures. So to get into it, we obviously click on Rift Create, and it opens up the company that you're logged on to. And within a company, you can have multiple sites. You can have as many of these sites as you're licensed to have. And then within those sites, you have document types. And again, you can have multiple document types. And then within document types, you can set a hierarchy up pretty much any way you want. As you can see in this case for mobile equipment, we've set up fleets of dozers, then the equipment type, and then the documents. In a fixed plant environment, we might say we're going to set it up by area, conveying, crushing, etc. And all of this can be set up any way you want based on fields in the system. So we're going to concentrate looking at this mobile equipment type right now. So again, yeah, this hierarchy can be set up any way you want. As you'll notice here, there are different colors here. So that actually means something, and I'll explain that in a minute. But let's just look at a document. So when you click into a document, you are able to basically fill data into fields. So it's not like when you do a work procedure in maintenance in Microsoft Word, where you have to, basically go format the Word document and, maybe put pictures in and everything moves around, all that type of stuff. You're not worried about formatting here. The formatting is all controlled by the system. All you're doing is putting data into tables. So this particular document here, you can see you've got fields where you're selecting things like select the dozers, and that actually obviously builds this hierarchy too. The equipment type, again, same thing. And, the frequency, that's a free format field. What type of service, what PPE is required. You see, you can select the different PPE you need. Hazards and precautions, this one's set up, again, looking at a table. So you select the hazard and then you type in the precaution that you'd need to, I guess, to mitigate that hazard. Tools and special equipment, parts, etc. Now, all of these tables are all set up in the background for each particular document type, so you can have whatever you want in here, whatever makes sense to you as a company. And then once you've got the details information, you can have the procedure steps. And what you do is you select different step types, and then different, like if you have one with an image, you can put an image in, and then, or a step like this, or you can have a caution step. And the way these lines are laid out is all determined again by a template. So once you're happy with that, you obviously save the document, and then you say, well, I want to generate that document. And so what you do is you come in here and you click PDF and you generate the document. But what does a document look like? Let's have a look at one of these. So when you look at a document, it can be anything you want, but in this case, it shows the purpose as was written in, the PPE required. It picked icons out of a table rather than putting words in, which makes it more visual. Again, with the hazards and precautions, you selected fall from height. It put the icon in, and that was the I guess the mitigation that you're doing for that hazard, and etc. Tools and special equipment, and then the procedure steps. As you'll notice here, if you selected caution, it automatically, colors the line, puts that icon in there. Same with the stop one, does all this automatically. You don't have to worry about any of this formatting. So it's much quicker to develop. So as you're developing these work procedures, it's just a matter of, again, putting data in tables, and it's just so much quicker than writing Word documents. And then obviously have all your steps. And then usually towards the bottom of a procedure, most of our customers have some sort of a feedback form like this that says, what's the procedure, feedback, did we take any corrective action? What was the work identified? Again, the author doesn't have to worry about this. This is just put on every form. So let's just going back into Rift Create here. You'll notice that there's multiple versions here. So you can see every version that's ever been created. You can see that none of these versions have ever been uploaded in the system. So let's have a look at what we got here. So this one here, its status is that it's waiting for approval. So what's happened here is the document's been generated and an approval hierarchy has been set up for this document type. So it needs to be approved. So if we have a look at the approval history, it says that it turns out me is the person that should be approving this. So we can look at that history. And so what will have happened is I will have received an email, okay, telling me that I need to approve this document. And here it is. And if I click on that, it logs me into the system, like so. And we go into Restore, and this approval is outstanding. Well, this screen actually shows a couple of things. Firstly, as it turns out, because I was the person that requested this to be approved, it shows that these are the ones that I've requested, and it shows it turns out the same one as I'm the approver. And that's because I set the approvals to manual. So in other words, if I'm the person who's requesting the approval and I'm the approver, it actually makes me go through the approval step. If I set it to automatic, it would have automatically approved it because I'm the person generating it. But I did that just for the purpose of demonstrating. So we would come in here, and either we can do one of two things. We can click on details here, go into the approvals here, and approve it. So I can approve it or reject it. And if I approve it like so, it will now, if I just refresh this, it'll say that it's been approved. Okay. So now going back into, and I also get an email telling me that the approver has approved the document for me. So now going back into RiftSoft here, you'll notice that it changed to yellow again. Well, that's actually going to change to purple in a minute. Now, the reason the reason why it needed to regenerate the document is because while it was waiting for approval, it actually had a watermark across the document. And let's see if I can find, I haven't got another one to show you, I don't think. No. No, if I had one, I'd show you, but basically it has a watermark across the document saying approval outstanding. And the purpose of that is that if a document is not approved, you don't want somebody printing it out to go and do work because it's not in an approval state. So it puts a big watermark across it saying approval is outstanding. But once the document's been approved, it's now ready for upload into a system. So if we look at this document now, it's been put in SAP before. It has a SAP DIR number here. So to put it to update that and put a new version into SAP, we click the upload button. It already knows the DIR number. We have to select which document it is off this list here, because there could be multiple attachments on a DIR. So we do that. And what that'll do now is in the background, it will be uploading that document into SAP. Now, and then once that happens, it'll turn to green. We can actually upload documents in bulk as well. We can approve in bulk and we can upload in bulk. So if I went to this equipment type here, I could upload both of those together and it would upload them both. So you'll see now that's changed to green. So when we look at the status, it's been complete, approved, and uploaded. And we can actually see the document also in SharePoint. So if I click on this button here, as it turns out, the way we've made this connection is the document gets put in SharePoint and then the DIR record is linked to the SharePoint URL. It doesn't have to be that way, but in this particular case, it is. And if we take out this part of the URL, you can actually see the whole document library. And you'll notice in the document library, there are fields here like department, equip type, frequency, etc. These are all fields out of RiftSoft that get populated in the SharePoint metadata here. You'll notice also there's a link back to RiftSoft, so you can go and click on that and go direct into RiftSoft. It also has the SAP DIR number. So if I click on that, it takes me back into that particular document in RiftSoft. Okay, so that's basically how the system works. You can see you've got the authors are able to generate the documents way quicker than building Word documents. There's a complete inbuilt approval process. The one I showed you was just a single level of approval, but you can have multiple levels, multiple people doing approvals and going through a process until you're happy the document's ready for upload. And basically, when a user is looking at this system, if all the documents are green, it means the current approved document, the document is in SAP. That's what this means when you have an SAP interface. So, as authors are working through this, you can see they've got documents to upload. There's nothing currently sitting here to approve, but there are some that need to be generated. So you can see the whole status of all your documents here at once. So at this point, I'd be asking if there's any questions, if anybody wants to know more.
Perfect. Thanks, Peter. With that, we'll wrap up. But if you do have any questions, around RiftSoft, we'd be happy to answer those. Feel free to reach out to us directly, and we look forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks so much.